Carolina and Duke, that's one semifinal. There's one semifinal spot left. We are just about to decide it. Notre Dame and Virginia about to play. Do you know the Irish haven't beaten the Cavaliers since Virginia was #1, 1981. Ralph Sampson, I think it's 10 in a row they've lost. What happens in this one tonight?
I still see UVA win this ball game, but Notre Dame has to shoot extremely well from the outside. UVA is going to double down on that block on Bonzie Colson. You have to have guys on the perimeter with their hands ready, and they have to have knockdown shooters.
Well, they got guys on the perimeter that will have their hands ready to shoot the ball. How he handles the double team will be the key. This is a different Virginia team the last 2 weeks. Kyle Giles emerged as a secondary scorer to London Paredes. That's changed this team a little bit. They're a little bit more freed up offensively. Notre Dame is a terrific tournament team. They play freed up. They play with great confidence. I think the key is Matt Farrell. He's got to make some plays and get some guys some shots.
As soon as I saw this bracket, I said, we're going to have UVA in the ACC championship game.
Really?
You want a bold statement, Seth Greenberg? There you go.
Because this game's going 60 wins.
Bonzie Colson would beg to differ with your assessment of this situation. So would Matt Farrell. We'll see who the answers are. Sean McDonough, Doris Burke will have the call. Sean?
All right, Reese, thank you, and welcome everybody to ESPN's continuing coverage of Champ Week, the 2017 New York Life ACC Tournament. Long wait for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. They are the last team in the ACC to take the court here at the Barclays Center in this ACC tournament. The nightcap, the quarterfinal round for the #3 seed, taking on the 6th seed, the Virginia Cavaliers. And the winner of this one will advance to tomorrow night's semifinal to take on the Florida State Seminoles. A winner just a few moments ago over Virginia Tech, and the first semifinal tomorrow night, North Carolina and Duke. That always has a great sound to it. Sean McDonough along with Doris Burke, delighted to have you with us. We mentioned during the earlier game tonight, Mike Bray, when talking about Virginia, said in 4 years in the ACC, we figured out a lot of things in the ACC, but we haven't figured out how to beat Virginia. They're 0-5 under Mike Bray against the Cavaliers.
I think the Irish have a lot of weapons on the offensive end. The floor is going to have to stay spaced against that pack line defense. I love what Seth just said. Mike Bray's a guy who gives his team great confidence in these situations. Can't wait to see how they react.
And one of the primary tasks tonight, stopping the red-hot Kyle Guy, 20 points in their win last night.
Well, the program is defined by what they do on the defensive end of the floor. That's how they win. But Kyle Guy gives them a verve, a juice on the offensive end. His ability to become a big-time scorer has changed the feel of this team. On the opposite side, you've got Bonzie Colson, who at 6'5", has a 7'2" wingspan. So how, when you're undersized, do you get oversized? Well, you are the first off the floor. You use all of that wingspan to beat everybody to the spot. How about that finish? And because he is a capable face-up player, he's a difficult matchup. Then when he gets close to the rim and has to face size again, he protects his body. But Maria Taylor, some breaking news. How the heck is Virginia going to check this guy?
Well, you know, Doris, at least to start this game, they will not be checking him with Isaiah Wilkins, the 6'7" freshman forwards on the all-defensive team, because he's still battling some flu-like symptoms from a virus. Now, Isaiah was asked yesterday in the matchup if he wanted to start the game, and he told Coach yes, so they went with that plan. But he really was struggling and laboring to make it through the matchup. And now he'll be sitting on the sidelines to start. Ty Jerome will be in, so they'll go a little bit smaller. He's a freshman guard, about 6'5". But assistant coach Jason Williford says that Jerome has the highest IQ of a freshman that he has ever coached, and he really understands the pack line defense quickly, which is difficult to pick up, guys.
Fourth start of the season for Jerome, the freshman. The lineup's brought to you by Can-Am. Notre Dame 23-8 overall, 12-6 in the ACC. Good for a tie for second. And Virginia controls the tip. The New Zealander Jack Salt went up and got it. And here's London Parentes, their leader. Devin Hall, Ty Jerome, and Kyle Guy, and now they've all touched it for the Wahoos. Virginia, a winner last night over Pitt to get here. Hall's fadeaway drops. Meanwhile, Notre Dame, by virtue of their top 4 finish in the regular season standings, had a double bye. This is their first action of this ACC tournament.
And the Irish have downshifted, as Mike Bray likes to call it. I call it downsizing. They go 4 out, 1 in, but really it's 5 out with Bonzi Colson because he can step away.
Parentes into the corner it goes. Hall's 3 wouldn't go. Jack Salt tipped it up, but nobody there in the blue and orange of Virginia. Steve Astoria into the corner for a corner 3 by Rex Pfluger. 40% 3-point shooter, sophomore out of Dana Point, California. That's a nice part of the world.
Well, the corner 3 is a nice part of the world. That's an easy shot, probably the easiest 3 to make. And boy, does Notre Dame have any number of guys who can make it from distance.
Ty Jerome into the starting lineup for Wilkins, a miss. There's Matt Farrell, one of the most improved players in the country this year. B.J. Beecham. Colson can make a 3. Settles for a long 2 and makes it over the outstretched arm of the big Jack Salt, who stands 6'11".
That's going to be a problem for Jack Salt because Colson will bring him away and make him move his feet.
Guy. And now Parentes. Parentes was their leading scorer in their win at South Bend. They played once in the regular season, January 24th. A Virginia win. Foul called before that shot. And Parentes led all scorers in that win with 22.
Bonzi Colson is a very difficult matchup, so he looks like he's going to screen for Beecham. He just slips to the corner. There's the lift, a little step separation on the step back, and that's going to be a big challenge for Salt that far from the rim.
Colson got his in that loss. It was 71-54. Virginia winning in South Bend, but Colson had 20 of the 54 Notre Dame points. It was a close game at the half. Virginia pulled away in the second half. Parentes the miss. The rebound snatched down by the senior from Fort Wayne, B.J. Beecham. Farrell. Homecoming for Farrell from Bridgewater, New Jersey. And he's long with a 3-point try, taken off the back rim by Devin Hall. Jerome, also a native of this area, went to Iona Prep from New Rochelle, New York. Guy, a little bit off the mark that time, and again the rebound yanked down by Beecham, who pulls 4 boards a game down for the Irish.
And Virginia will do some offensive rebounding, but obviously their priority is to get back into good defensive transition and build that pack line defense.
Colson, another deep 2, just about the same spot. And Salt looked over his bench as if to say, what am I supposed to do about that?
Yeah, you see, now normally you could come with Wilkins in this situation because Wilkins could step away and guard. He's their most versatile and best forward defender.
Wilkins did play last night. Oh, bad pass. Threw it right to Farrell. Has Beecham coming with him. V.J. Beecham with the left. And a great start for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Trying to solve this Virginia puzzle. Timeout. Tony Bennett.
Boy, he's moments away from a dead ball timeout, and he elects to do it anyway. 9-2 Virginia. And Bonzi Colson is putting Jack Salt to work right now. Go ahead, 6'10", check me out here. Can you come and guard me? I don't think so. My goodness gracious. Little run out. Easy opportunity for V.J. Beecham. Notre Dame rolling.
The Lexus Command Performance Sales Event is here, where the feeling, craftsmanship, and luxury will last, but the offers will not. Experience uncommon refinement on our most luxurious models ever, including the LX, LS, and ES during the Lexus Command Performance Sales Event. But don't hesitate. This event ends March 31st. Experience amazing.
So you're not going to fill out a bracket this year?
What's the point? The odds of picking a perfect bracket are 1 in 2.4 trillion. You're more likely to meet your doppelganger.
Improve your odds. With 6 grams of protein, California almonds are the perfect pick.
Hello?
Hey, I noticed your car's not in the driveway.
Yeah, it's in the shop. It's gonna cost me an arm and a leg.
That's hilarious.
Sorry.
You should have taken it to Midas. Get some of that Midas touch. He'll tell you what stuff needs fixing and what stuff can wait.
Next time, going to Midas.
High five! Ah, did not see that coming.
Get a conventional oil change plus for only $19.99 or $10 off a premium oil upgrade. For oil, brakes, tires, everything. Trust the Midas touch.
At Chili's, we ain't just blowing smoke. More flavor than can fit on a plate with our world-famous baby backs. Jalapeno cheddar sausage, barbecue chicken, plus 3 sides. It's a meat lover's dream. Now at Chili's.
Modern life deserves a modern way to pay.
Jane, you are getting a ticket.
Online and on your phone.
Nope, it's been Masterpassed.
For the little victories. Am I right? Masterpass, the secure way to pay from your bank. Don't just buy it, Masterpass it.
Now watch this 3-pointer. 1. Chocolate milk has nutrients to refuel. 2. Natural protein to rebuild. 3. It's backed by science. I'm Clay Thompson, and I'm built with chocolate milk.
Champ Week's biggest night begins Saturday at 6 on ESPN.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life. With the right guidance, everyone can be good at life. And Travelocity. Wander wisely.
Well, 9-2 Notre Dame, and what a start for Bonzie Colson, but I don't like what he does after he makes the last basket. Watch what happens, because he's going to have plenty of space and opportunity. He should simply come this way up the floor. Watch the path he takes and what he does to Tony Bennett, and then watch Tony Bennett's reaction. He doesn't say a word, but I think Tony objects to it, and I don't like it either.
He should object to it.
Yeah.
Garbage.
He's a talented kid. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. He's always been outsized, but I'm a little bit surprised by that.
His dad was a terrific player, Bonzie at URI, and has coached in a couple of college programs as well. Notre Dame, way too classy a program to have stuff like that going on. And you can see the surprise in Tony Bennett's face.
Yeah, and don't make any mistake now. You talk about, listen, and every coach is competitive, but
I don't know if Mike Bray saw that, but when he does see it, and you know he will not be happy.
No doubt about it.
They've been taking a look at Colson's shot to see if it was a 2 or a 3.
Boy, that's close.
It was ruled a 2 on the floor, and they've looked at it for a very long time.
I mean, to me, that when they blew it up, I thought it looked like a 3.
I did too. Thought there was just a little speck of space, but it was called a 2 on the floor, and if it's not conclusive, it'll stay that way. They've had plenty of time. I mean, let's go, guys. Ron Groover, Les Jones, Lee Cassell, the officials. And here we go. Well,
no,
we're not gonna
they're actually sending it back.
Tony Bennett's curious as to what this is all about.
Crowd getting restless too. This is taking
groaning.
way too long. Listen, I get it. We want to get it right, but make a decision here. That's a 3.
They scored a 3. And I think it was a 3, but I don't know how that's conclusive. So it's 10-2. It's been nearly 5 minutes since we went to the last commercial break. That's how long it took them to sort all that out. And Isaiah Wilkins is on the floor now, under the weather. Ordinarily a starter, but with Colson having his way, he's in there. And he tries to back in on Colson. Enough energy for that nice move. Isaiah Wilkins off the bench.
I've got to wonder about some long-term concern, though. This is a virus. I had them a couple of weeks ago at NC State, and that virus was ongoing. So the fact that it's still affecting him, that's a long time, Sean.
I think they're going to do more tests. You know, after a while, there's concerns about things like mono and I would imagine they're taking a closer look at him for all sorts of things like that. Mamadi Diakite is in the game. Colson goes right at Wilkins and scores and takes a straight line back to the defensive end.
Yeah, that's good that time. A little chippy start for him, though. He's ready to go to work.
Kyle Guy, strong cut, then missed the layup. Steve Astoria, the ball moves quickly, as it so often does. Rex Pfluger. Virginia thought he lost it off his own leg. Les Jones saying it's off Diakite, but now the officials are conferring, and they overturn the call.
Well, Isaiah Wilkins steps into the basketball game and gets right to work. Backs down Bonzie Colson, has to actually use the step-through move because Bonzie did a pretty good job staying in position. And then Bonzie says, yeah, I got a little to my post game as well. Goes right over that left shoulder.
Jerome is out. Darius Thompson has come in. Off and on starter this year at guard. Redshirt junior out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Here he is. Transfer from the University of Tennessee. Whoops. Parentes tried to feed Diakite at the elbow, and Parentes gesturing at Diakite as if that was his fault. Parentes' fault. Steve Astoria coming toward the end of a terrific career at Notre Dame. Senior from Medford, New Jersey, the Philadelphia area. Martinez Gebben is into the ball game. The big fella, 6'10", from Lithuania.
Well, Mike has really put a lot of coaching time into this young man. Think about some of the guys he's developed in the big man rotation. Luke Herringody comes to mind. He handed the keys to that position at the start of the year. He didn't respond, Gebben, and going back to him.
If you watch Gebben, when Mike Brey talked to us this morning, he said he is just going to go in there and screen, and that's all he did until he rolled to the bucket for the wide open dunk.
It's amazing when you involve yourself in trying to get your teammates open, what good can happen. Yeah, get fired up. Try to earn some more minutes, Mr. Gebben.
Averaging 13.5 minutes per game, but he had a couple of DNPs late in the year. Diakite working on Colson. It goes off, and then Wilkins is over the back of Gebben for the foul. First on Isaiah Wilkins, the stepson of the great Dominique Wilkins.
Let's watch Gebben, who starts as a screener, sets up multiple times to try to free his teammates, and then drops to the rim. And go ahead, Matt Farrell. He loves to play in the New York, New Jersey area. He drops that off and avoids the charge by sidestepping the defensive player. Really good job by Matt Farrell.
You mentioned it. Farrell, they played in the Legends Classic here at the start of the season back in November. They won the Legends Classic, and he was the MVP. Farrell had 20 points against Colorado, 18 against Northwestern in their 2 wins. Wilkins rechecks him. You're not going to be the MVP tonight. Kyle Guy. Jared Reuter's in the game, number 31 for UVA. Reuter has it, working on Gebben. Little floating half hook taken down by Gebben. He'll likely go to work screening again. And rolling again. And throwing it away.
Well, Isaiah Wilkins looks like the Michael Jordan version of the flu tonight, because he got started early with the scoring and then twice on the pipe sends that one back with authority. My goodness. You feel pretty good, Coach.
Yeah, he could get up high enough that he almost blocked that with his elbow. You know, he's, I think, an example of what happens in both of these programs. Their players tend to stay. They don't get one-and-done guys, and they get better because they get terrific coaching while they're there. Wilkins noticeably improving year to year. Here's Thompson for a 3 for Virginia. Their first from long distance tonight.
Really good job by him using that screen and feeling where the defensive player was coming off.
Gebben. Too frisky. Mike Bray said when he goes in there, he's going in there to screen people, and he took that a little too enthusiastically that time, his first.
Well, let's watch Virginia, who's gotten off to a very slow start on the offensive end. Just 7 points through the first 8 minutes, but really good use of the screen. He sees Gibbs try to cheat through, and so he basically flares to the outside. Look at, he's got plenty of space. Thompson delivers.
In my experience, there are only 2 things guaranteed to grow. The cash value of your New York Life policy, a policy that keeps your family protected, and my famous Crane souffle, which literally never stopped growing. Be good at life. New York Life.
With the Travelocity Customer First Guarantee, your only worry will be that one rogue cloud.
Get help with hotels, free 24-hour flight changes, and our price match guarantee.
Travelocity. Wander wisely.
There is something about a Guinness that reminds you there's less that separates us than brings us together. Here's to us all.
If you battle chronic back pain or joint pain, turn it off with Icy Hot Smart Relief. Among leading brands, only Smart Relief is indicated to relieve chronic pain. Imagine the difference it'll make in your life. Turn off chronic pain with Icy Hot Smart Relief.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground was where I spent most of my days. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, and shooting some b-ball outside Arby's. We have the meats.
See the phenomenon that has everyone talking.
Get out!
Don't miss the best reviewed movie of the year.
They treat us like family.
Get Out. Rated R.
"2014, Virginia claimed its first Atlantic Coast Conference title since 1976. And then the next year was Notre Dame, winning its first ever conference championship, beating North Carolina. Jaron Grant led the way with 24 points, 10 assists for Coach Bray, who was the tournament MVP. So they were tournament champions of this event back-to-back years. A lot of success under these two outstanding coaches. Matter of fact, since 13-14, Virginia has won more games than any team in the conference. They've won 2 regular season ACC titles. Mike Bray's been to 2 of the 8s, and that's one game you'll never forget. The game against Kentucky in Cleveland, when they almost pulled off a huge upset, lost by 2 points, bidding to get to the Final Four.
Both programs good enough that Josh Pastner, the ACC Coach of the Year at Georgia Tech, said he'd like to model his program, in fact, after Notre Dame.
Jared Reuter scores over Martinez Gebben, and that's really not a one-on-one matchup we expect to see a lot of tonight, but you never know what's going to unfold. 11.5 to go, first half. Vestoria into the corner for Beecham. Streaky three-point shooter. Missed that one.
Yeah, Beecham was just 1 for 10 in the first matchup. You gotta believe if they're gonna walk out of here, he's gonna have to give them better than that.
He was 0 for 5 from 3 in the loss to the Cavaliers in South Bend in late January. Pfluger, active defender, knocks it out of bounds.
Returning for the Irish, number 35.
Bonzie Colson returns. Only player in the ACC in the regular season to average a double-double for the year. 17 points, 10.4 rebounds. First team all-conference, leading rebounder in the league, 15th in the nation. In 18 double-doubles to lead the conference for Colson. Parentes, tough pass, and it did not connect with Wilkins. Pfluger sent it the other way to Farrell. Beecham A 3-ball for VJ Beacham. Honorable mention all ACC this year.
You can see what Notre Dame is able to do at their best, right? The spacing on the floor is incredible. And as I said, there's so many guys who can make threes. Got 4 different guys in this team who have made at least 31. The high of 82 for Beacham, and he'll add to that tonight.
I think they might have gotten Reuter. They did for a moving screen. His first. Here's Maria Taylor.
Well, right now, guys, Tony Bennett not satisfied with the way his team is playing defense. He says that they're behind the play, not doing a very good job, just anticipating. So he wants to see faster slides, but he also wants to see more aggression, a faster closeout. He's not seeing what he likes to see from that pack line D.
Well, after listening to him with your interview yesterday, when he holds the opponent to 7.5 minutes without scoring and he's still talking about tightening it up, I'm not sure you can satisfy the guy. And Notre Dame's pretty good on that end.
Steve Astoria, another honorable mention all ACC player with the bucket. Notre Dame had 4 players named to the various all ACC squads. That's more than any other team in the conference. Another 3 for Darius Thompson. Beacham trying to answer. The long rebound out to Colson. Jerome couldn't knock it away. Reuter the foul. And the shot spun off for Colson. But Reuter has 2 fouls. And Colson will have 2 free throws.
He is just such a handful, Bonzi Colson. Because of where he's coming from, he gets a lot of opportunities to score the basketball, to offensive rebound it. Coming from 6 to 8 feet, he'll pursue it out of his area.
Excellent foul shooter as well, nearly 81% for the junior from New Bedford, Massachusetts. Olsen finished 3rd in the voting for ACC Player of the Year this season, behind Justin Jackson of North Carolina and Wake Forest John Collins. So Jack Salt is back in. And Reuter has gone out with his 2 fouls. Here's Mariel Shayok off the bench now for UVA, number 4. 10 to shoot. Thompson tried to jam it into Salt. 5 to shoot. Jerome again tried to jam it to Salt. 1 to shoot. Thompson didn't get it off.
I tell you have to be willing, if you're Notre Dame, knowing what's coming with this circle motion sort of swing offense, and Mike Bray was anticipating it, you've got to be really disciplined for the full shot clock on the defensive end. Give great energy, multiple closeouts, lock and trail when they're coming off those baseline screens. That's a really good defensive possession.
Virginia, the best scoring defense in the country. But Notre Dame has shot 8 for 12 from the floor. Now 8 for 13. Colson the miss and Jerome the rebound. Ty Jerome. Mariel Shayok. Jerome's senior season hampered by a hip problem that required surgery, and another launch at the end of the shot clock. Rex Pfluger with Farrell off the balls. They run a design play. Farrell looked like he was just about to split the defense, lost the ball, but it's because he got fouled on the way by Ty Jerome, his first. Fourth Virginia team foul. Virginia gives up just 55 points per game. Colson wide open on the catch, dribbled closer to the bucket. Surprised he passed up that wing jumper that was wide open, Doors.
Agreed. Yeah, because as soon as Jack Salt checked in on the last possession, he got to the 3 again.
Hall. That's a 3 for Devin Hall. He's their third leading scorer for the year. Beecham missed underneath. A foul on the rebounding action. Fouls on Virginia's. Salt, his first. A visit with Joe Lunardi right after this.
The markets can be very unpredictable. New York Life, on the other hand, is as consistent as my free throw shooting. They've paid a dividend to participating policy owners every year since 1854. It may not be sexy, but it works. Be good at life. New York Life.
This lovely lady has a typical airline credit card, so she only earns double miles on purchases she makes from that airline. Would you earn double miles on, please? Oh, it's unfortunate. There's a better option. The Capital One Venture Card. With Venture, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase, everywhere, every day. Not just airline purchases. Seems like a no-brainer. What's in your wallet?
Morning, it's another pure gray morning. Don't know what the day is holding. And I get up right home and I walk right into the path of a lightning bolt. Got it so the lightning won the water, not the wine. But when I see the signs, I'll jump on that lightning bolt.
When I want a $7.99 large pizza from Pizza Hut, I can order with this, and now from my Pizza Hut Pie Tops.
Now get a large 2-topping pizza for just $7.99. It's the best pizza delivery deal.
Because no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Back in Brooklyn, Notre Dame leading Virginia 21-15. It's Champ Week leading up to Selection Sunday. Here's bracketology with Joe Lunardi. The #1 seeds: Villanova, North Carolina, Kansas, and Gonzaga. The 2s: Oregon, Kentucky, Baylor, and Louisville. That's the way Joe has it right now. And Joe joins us from the Infinity Bracket Bunker. Joe, Kansas a loss today. What, if anything, did that change?
I don't think we're going to see the identity, Sean, of the #1 seeds change at all over the course of the week. But the ordering is important, and it did move tonight with Kansas losing that quarterfinal in the Big 12 to TCU. There goes Villanova, Carolina now. Ironically, the two teams that played to the last second of the last game a year ago to be #1, and here they are now fighting for #1 overall 1 year later. We'll see who lasts longer in their respective conference tournaments.
Xavier, a team that had to endure a significant injury early, getting quality wins was an issue. How do they look now that they've beaten a quality Butler team?
I don't think there's been a more significant result all day, maybe all week, Doris, than Xavier beating Butler on a neutral floor without Edmund Sumner, their great point guard. You know, we've seen Xavier over the last 3 or 4 weeks only able to win 3 games, and they all came against DePaul, the team in the basement of the Big East. For them to do that tonight, I think not only puts them in the tournament, but lifts them above that first 4 grouping, because this was more like the Xavier team we saw for the bulk of the season.
All right, Joe, thank you. We'll let you get back to work in the bunker, and we appreciate the visit as always. Jack Salt's gone to the bench with 2 fouls. Steve Astoria scored right off the inbounding play as we brought Joe in. So it's 23-15. Notre Dame leading with under 6.5 minutes to go in the first half. Sean McDonough, Doris Burke, Maria Taylor watching Darius Thompson make his 3rd 3-point field goal off the bench for UVA, almost single-handedly keeping them close.
They do such a good job of using screens, continuing the activity. Virginia's such a rhythm-based offensive team.
Beecham trying to answer from distance. Kevin aggressively after the rebound. And got it out to the freshman guard TJ Gibbs, who handed it off to Matt Farrell. Air ball out of the corner.
Been a real struggle for him. He's made 1 3 in the last 8 games, Gibbs.
1 for 14 during that stretch. The freshman guard from Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Parentes a deep 3 that would not fall. And Beecham another rebound. Six rebounds already for VJ Beecham, and that's a three for Matt Farrell.
Tremendous screen by Martinez-Gebben. Just absolutely tremendous, understanding which angle he needs to take, where Matt Farrell is spaced beyond him.
That's 22 straight games with a three for Farrell, second longest streak in the ACC right now, bettered only by Luke Kennard with a three in 36 straight games. What an ACC tournament rather he's having. Certainly a candidate right now to be in the discussion for the most valuable player of this tournament. Farrell's runner wouldn't go, and Gebben commits the foul as he knocked down Isaiah Wilkins. Second foul on Gebben.
Watch Martinez-Gebben right here just set a quality screen. I mean, listen, that defender's got no shot to get around him. That is beautifully done. And look at it, he's actually directing traffic on the offensive end, saying, hey, reverse the basketball.
Gebben to the bench now with those two fouls. Wilkins, Salt, all on the bench, and they're trying to figure out what they're doing. Diakite backing in on Colson. Out of bounds. Last touch by Notre Dame. Austin Torres is in off Mike Bray's bench. Usually their first big substitute at 6'7", wearing number 1. Tony Bennett runs Ty Jerome back in, and Thompson goes out.
I'm curious to see Diakite next year, Sean. Has his frame filled out? Is his finishing ability a little bit better? Because I think he's got tremendous upside.
Guy hasn't been able to pick up where he left off last night. Reuter working hard. And Jared Reuter will go to the line for 2. Big Ten tournament action continues this week on the ESPN networks. They're playing at the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C. Michigan a winner today. Michigan State pummeled Penn State. They're earning the date with Minnesota. Northwestern comfortably ahead of Rutgers as we speak. About midway through the second half, they're up 18.
Iowa likely headed to the NIT with their loss to Indiana.
Can Indiana have a magical run and get back in the picture? By the way, did you get the call from Reuters' hometown golf course, Katanza, today for the honorary membership?
I did not. You worked hard enough to try to get that for me.
I thought it was you pushing hard. I was merely trying to participate in the conversation. It is a very nice place. Matt Ryan, number 4, in for Notre Dame as well. He's basically a three-point specialist. I don't think Farrell knew the shot clock was as deep as it was. A rare turnover. These two teams average 9.5 turnovers per game. Only Michigan in the entire country averages fewer turnovers per game.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by America's biopharmaceutical company. Go boldly.
The markets can be very unpredictable. New York Life, on the other hand, is as consistent as my free throw shooting. They've paid a dividend to participating policy owners every year since 1854. It may not be sexy, but it works. Be good at life. New York Life.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Do not go gentle into that good night.
back. And it's front. No, really. The Triple Double Crunch Wrap Big Box is back. And it's still all mains, no sides with the Doritos Locos Taco, a Crunchy Taco, and a Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Just $5, only at Taco Bell.
Lease a 2017 Lincoln MKX for $369 a month, only at your Lincoln dealer.
Turn down for a potential Western Conference Finals preview. Turn down for the two best teams in the league. Seriously, look at the standings.
Warriors, Spurs, Saturday on ABC.
I'm a Tar Heel, yeah? Well, I'm a Blue Devil. 18 ACC championships, 19 ACC championships. I'm a Hall of Famer, big deal, so am I. I beat you at home this year, so did I. UNC Duke, tomorrow, go.
It'll be their first meeting in the ACC tournament since Duke defeated UNC in 2011 in the championship game. Moments away from the Audi halftime report. Reese, Seth, and Jay talking about the big upset in the Big 12 as Kansas goes down. They'll get you ready for that rematch tomorrow. They're ready to go. It's in their contract, but they get to warm up a little bit before their halftime appearance.
Play to this camera, please. We're just casually standing around talking ball, Sean.
It looks very natural.
Yeah. Big 12 upset was accurately predicted by Seth Greenberg. What do you see in the first half here?
Well, Kreskin says that right now Notre Dame has more ways to score, and it's putting a lot of pressure on that Virginia defense. Whether it's Colson, Beecham, Farrell, they got a lot of guys who can make buckets.
This guy gets one game right and he calls himself Kreskin. Unbelievable.
Well, the more pertinent questions, anybody under the age of 50 know who Kreskin is, Sean?
So now you want me to go Karnak?
Who's that?
Brad Farrell the steal in the bucket, and then Parentes the response at the other end. First basket of the night for Parentes, their leading scorer on the year. It started slowly last night and then picked it up in their win over Pittsburgh to get to this quarterfinal with Notre Dame. Under 3 minutes to go in the half. Farrell underneath, Colson fouled by Hall, his first. And they're over the limit.
Could have been a charge. Absolutely could have been a charge.
The Wahoo partisans thought so. So Colson goes to the line. Mentioned he had 20 points in the loss to Virginia, but he had just 3 rebounds in that game, which was his season low. Misses the front end of the 1-and-1.
Feels like a grind again on this end for Virginia, doesn't it? Because Kyle Guy is not changing the equation yet tonight.
Mike Bray said he might play more zone than usual against Virginia because he thinks sometimes you get worn out defending this half-court Virginia offense. The full 30 on the clock. Hall open for 3. And as rough as this half has appeared to be for Virginia, they're within 4.
It's their 5th 3. That'll keep you attached.
And their crowd coming to life. They had a late in the season 4-game losing streak, longest since through 2010, but they've responded with 4 straight wins.
Well, I'd say one of the principles of the pack line defense is your position is your help. And what a great reaction on the defensive help by Devin Hall to prevent a layup. That was beautiful.
That's unusual to allow that kind of play off the inbounds. And they've done that a couple of times effectively tonight. Notre Dame, coached by Mike Bray in his 17th season. And next year, he will likely become the all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame. He has 379 wins, 14 behind the legendary Digger Phelps. Jared Reuter scores underneath. Minute and a half to go in this opening half.
I'd go right back to Bonzi Colson. Reuter's been aggressive on the offensive end, but they haven't had an answer for Bonzi. He's a difficult matchup for anybody.
(11-4) run for UVA to get within 4. A lot of dribbling, and Bastoria had trouble with the dribble. And oh boy, Virginia's players and fans irate. And Notre Dame's possession got rescued by that call.
That's going to get Darius Thompson up and off the bench.
Oh boy,
that's bad.
That's terrible.
That's really bad. You're bailing that guy out. You know, he's spinning in. That's a terrible call. There's no contact.
Nope. There was contact on Bastoria as they tried to break away the other way. 2 fouls on Jerome. Parentes knew it was a terrible call.
It's a big swing. You got a 90+% free throw shooter there.
Yeah, best in the conference this year and 7th in the nation. Steve Astoria, 91.1% for the year. 82 out of 90.
You so rarely see Virginia in the bonus.
Well, that's true. And it sends Jerome to the bench with 2 fouls. Boy, Virginia had momentum and a terrible call, at least for the moment, a momentum killer.
When you connect better, everything comes together. Try it free at GoToMeeting.com.
Coming up on Selection Sunday, 7 p.m. Bracketology presented by Allstate. Reese Davis hosting with Jay Williams, Jay Billis, Seth Greenberg, Dickey B, and a host of other college hoops experts. They'll have a complete breakdown of each region. Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt gets us started at 5:15 on ESPN with the reveal of the men's field of 68 for the NCAA tournament. Both also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Tony Bennett spent a lot of that time out talking to Les Jones, who's a very good official and a very good guy. And I think that's the only reason why Tony was very calm as he spoke to Les Jones, because that call was a crusher a moment ago. Vastoria. He's been off the mark much of the year from three-point range. 30% in ACC play, 36 overall. But he's 8 for his last 43 entering tonight.
And that he had plenty of space. You so rarely see a three-point shooter gets that kind of space against Virginia.
Astoria's had an excellent career. His 113th straight start tonight for Notre Dame. Colson the block. Plenty of time. 5 seconds. Vastoria tried to drive, went behind the back. Pfluger needs to shoot it. And it's halftime. Mike Bray pleased. It's a low-scoring game. Usually favors Virginia. Notre Dame shot 52% for the half, but still only 32 points. Here's Maria with Mike Bray.
Well, Coach, you know Virginia's going to make you guard almost the full duration of the shot clock. How would you assess your defensive discipline?
I think we're really defending well. You know, we've been good. We lost a couple shooters on down screens, but the combination of our defense, and we're more efficient offensively against them tonight.
Virginia went on an 11-4 run to make it a 4-point game. How do you create and keep separation in this one?
Yeah, I thought we answered back. We've been in so many games. They're really good. You know, you're not going to get away from them. This is going to come down to game situations. Thank you.
At the half, Mike Bray and the Irish leading Virginia 32-26. Let's send you to the Audi halftime report. Upstairs we go. With Seth Greenberg and Jay Williams, here's the incomparable Reese Davis.
Sean, thank you very much. I believe he is the one who is incomparable. Already halftime report. You know what? Here's the story of the day from the Big 12. Josh Jackson suspended. Traffic mishap. Didn't let Bill Self know about the legal issues. Suspended. 80-80. Waning seconds. Alex Robinson. Horned Frogs by a bucket. Now it's tied up again. Open shooters Desmond Bain and Steve Mikhailuk put a hip check in him, and that's not legal.
What?
Got to close out. You can't foul a three-point shooter.
Thank you very much. You're paying attention.
And Mr. Bain made all 3 of those shots. Still a pretty good look for Devontae Graham to tie it, but it did not go down. And the number 1 seed in the Big 12 is gone, and though Kansas moves down in the seed lines according to Joe Lunardi, they're still a number 1 seed, just 3rd overall now. And any chance they would have to be the number 1 overall seed would presumably be gone. At the moment, North Carolina has hopped in front of them, but no Josh Jackson. The only thing that comes out of that is you still have the note that no team's ever won the national title after losing its first conference tournament game.
Yeah, but things like that are meant to be broken sooner or later, and I don't have as many concerns about this KU team not playing without Josh Jackson. And look, if we were to break down every single team, Seth, I know how you get so analytical. We can find something wrong with every team. Yes, they have a lack of depth in the front court, so does Villanova, but they still have great guard play. Guard play can get them to the national championship game.
Well, every team does have scars, but it did expose the scar that everyone's kind of concerned about, and that is the lack of depth of their front court. If you get Josh Jackson in foul trouble, if you get Landon Lucas in foul trouble, and you have to close out a game, right, they do not have another guy that can step up. They got, to me, the toughest backcourt in the country. But you get Josh Jackson in foul trouble, we just saw, they didn't win the game.
Yeah, suspended today. Foul trouble will be the same effect, putting him on the bench. Great win for Jamie Dixon, though Joe Lunardi says still some work to do and plenty of it for TCU to get in the mix. Duke and Louisville, terrific quarterfinal game here in Brooklyn earlier today. Tied at 70. This is after the Devils had trailed by a dozen in the second half. Luke Kennard knocks it down.
In the first half, we saw Luke Kennard miss 3 threes in a row. You knew that was not going to be the trend for the rest of the game. Him and Jason Tatum absolutely went off in the second half.
Jason Tatum, the toughest matchup in the ACC tournament.
I think he might be the toughest. Him and Dylan Brooks might be the toughest matchup in college basketball.
The really tough-minded win for the Blue Devils, 81-77. They held Louisville to 4 of 21 from 3. Miami and North Carolina, Tar Heels pretty much controlled this game. They got a little loose into the first half, and then they just ran away and hid. How about Isaiah Hicks?
Isaiah Hicks, to me, is the X factor for this team winning a national championship, but they did it on the defensive end today. They contained the basketball, kept it out of the lane, which enabled them to get out in transition.
North Carolina shot it well. Justin Jackson stepping out there. Most of his damage done in the second half.
Good halftime talk by Jay Will.
There were some people questioning Justin Jackson halftime. He only had 2. He got most of his shots and most of his points in the second half. Now Jason Tatum, Isaiah Hicks, they will meet in the semifinals on Friday night. Hicks didn't play in the first meeting between these two, but both of them have played extraordinarily well in the ACC tournament. Be a great matchup. Now the other quarterfinal game we saw just before Virginia, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, and Florida State. Florida State sort of the overlooked 2 seed. Virginia Tech kept hanging around. Terrence Mann,
to me, came up big, made some big shots. But Leonard Hamilton changing his defense in the middle of the first half changed the rhythm of this basketball game.
Seminoles just keep running dudes out there. They're big, significantly bigger than Virginia Tech. The winner of our game gets the winner of this one. Mann's going to finish it off. 74-68, so Florida State advances to the semifinals of the ACC tournament. Some Big Ten bubbles went pop, most notably to Illinois, and some others. We'll get you up to date when you come back.
This halftime report is presented by Audi.
Announcement. The moment you discover Shamrock Shake just got chocolatey. Enjoyment, when that first sip of chocolatey mint deliciousness is too good to share. Astonishment, the uncontrollable reaction one has to chocolatey mint awesomeness. It's chocolatey, it's minty, it's Shamrock Chocolate Madness. Only at participating McDonald's. Worriment, the moment you realize you have a limited time to try them all.
With Hotels.com's rewards program, for every 10 nights you stay, you get one free, which is great for families. Finally!
Whatever, Captain Obvious.
Hotels.com. Great for families. And for sore losers.
Allergy congestion makes you feel trapped. Break through with Allegra D 5-in-1 Relief. It works fast, has a non-drowsy antihistamine, and a powerful decongestant. Break through allergy congestion with Allegra D.
Oh, my goodness. Man, if you don't like this, there's something wrong.
Champ Week's biggest night begins Saturday at 6 on ESPN.
Welcome back to the Audi Halftime Report.
Big Ten quarterfinals, Illinois and Michigan. Michigan wearing the practice jerseys after that harrowing mishap with the team playing yesterday. All of the luggage, which includes their uniform, still part of the investigation. So Michigan wearing the practice uniforms. Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman gets the layup, and then he gets the jam. Zach Irvin going to finish one off, too. Michigan wins this game by 20. Probably knocks Illinois off the bubble, but Beeline still moved by the mishap yesterday.
You know, you could see as we went through all this the last 24 hours, you know, our kids, as the time went on, I could see their appreciation for what they just went through and how blessed they were to play today. So I think we're playing right now like we're just blessed. I mean, they're playing like they're not caring about anything else and just playing a game that they love to forget about what happened.
Thankful no one was hurt. It can be quite a bonding experience. Xavier needed this win, Seth, and against Butler, they were able to get a Trayvon Blewett, putting him ahead.
Think about since February 4th, they have 3 wins, all against DePaul. This win against Butler puts them in the NCAA tournament.
There's the opportunity there to pull it out of the fire for Butler. You agree with that, X?
I do agree with that. After this big-time win over this team, they're in the tournament. Butler with multiple opportunities down the stretch, though.
Lenardi has him as one of the last 4 teams in. He did coming in. You see the last 4. He might have moved. Apparently, he's moved him up a little bit as Joe continues to watch the bubble up to the second. USC plays UCLA later on tonight. You see the first 4 out, still hoping that things fall their way.
Whether it's anniversary night or just another weeknight, there's Viagra single packs for guys with ED.
Ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain or Adempas for pulmonary hypertension. Your blood pressure could drop to an unsafe level. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease or loss in vision or hearing.
Ask your doctor about Viagra single packs.
So how old do you want to be when you retire?
I was thinking around 70.
All right. And before that?
You mean after that?
No, I'm talking before that. Do you have things you want to do before you retire?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, like what?
But I thought we were supposed to be talking about investing for retirement.
We're absolutely doing that. There's no law that says you can't make the most of today. What do you want to do?
I'd really like to run with the Bulls.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hope you're fast.
I am.
Get a portfolio that works for you now and as your needs change. Investment management services from TD Ameritrade.
There is something about a Guinness that reminds you there's less that separates us than brings us together. Here's to us all.
Success has always been measured in zeros. But shouldn't it be about firsts and seconds? How about adding a third? We think there's a bajillion ways to measure success, like making your toddler giggle like this. Yep, that's a success. Can teaching kids in another country how to say pony make you a success? The correct answer is yeah. What about taking pride in everything you do? Finding the courage to do something you've never done. Or doing something no one's ever done. We sure think so. This is what we call the new success story. And while success isn't just about money, no matter how much you have, we think you deserve the financial freedom to sleep like this at night. We are TIAA, and we're with you. Start today at TIAA.org.
Hand-cut tomatoes, fresh original dough. You'd expect those from a pizza family. But here's something you didn't see coming. Get a 2-topping pan or large pizza from Papa John's, just $9.99. That's right, only $9.99.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
This halftime report is presented by Audi.
One more spot left in the semifinals in the ACC. Notre Dame has lost 10 straight to UVA, but right now, the Irish with a 6-point lead. Second half is not far away. And Kyle Guy on the Cavs rally. This has been the Audi Halftime Report.
The sub-above difference is substantial. After all, the Giant got its name for a reason. It ain't little. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Any guy can catch a ride, but only you can take her on a journey. You got something. Own it and smell great with new Axe U, a unique masculine fragrance.
With the Travelocity Customer First Guarantee, your only worry will be how to drink this monstrosity.
Get help with hotels, free 24-hour flight changes, and our price match guarantee.
Travelocity. Wander wisely.
Why do some cashback cards make earning bonus cashback so complicated? They limit where you can earn bonus cashback to a few places, and those places keep changing every few months. The Quicksilver card from Capital One doesn't do any of that. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cashback on every purchase everywhere. Leave complicated behind. What's in your wallet?
The sub-above difference is time-tested, because we know there's only one way to make an original Italian, and we've stuck to it since 1956. Any questions? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. I like slam dunks and taking it to the line.
Welcome back to ESPN's Champ Week, the 2017 New York Life ACC Tournament. First time in the 64-year history of this event it's been played in New York. The Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Notre Dame with a 32-26 lead over Virginia at the half. Welcome back. Sean McDonough and Doris Burke. They haven't beaten Virginia under Mike Bray. They haven't beaten since they've been in the ACC and well back before that, but Bonzie Colson got them off to a good start tonight.
This is a prideful, edgy Irish team. I think they were looking forward to the matchup, but certainly Bonzie Colson was, and they shot over 50%. Listen, a double stagger out top, you're going to get movement off of that. You get to the deep corner, and because he is 6'5", he can step away and make threes. He makes Salt come away and guard, and oh yeah, guess what? You got that three ability, so you use the shot fake to your great advantage. Simple one dribble pull up, and how does he rebound it? Look at the full extension this guy gets. We talked about a 7'2" wingspan. He uses every little bit of that. And Sean, he finishes with 11 and 4. Maria Taylor, what do you know?
Well, as far as Virginia's concerned, right now, Doris, they are worried about the offensive end of the court. Now, coming out of the locker room, the focus was the play away from the ball. So that might be setting screens to get guys open. They also want to do a better job with ball movement, making that extra pass. As far as Kyle Guy being 0 for 5 in the first, they will be looking to get him going offensively. They need that spark right now.
The guy did not score in the first half. He's been on fire entering tonight's game, including the 20 points last night. Matt Farrell, VJ Beecham. Irish ball to begin the second half. Strong drive to the goal. Unusual to see somebody drive like that right through the Virginia defense.
Well, Wilkins gets the start in the second half, but again, this kid is not feeling well. You can see it when he's warming up. He looks a little bit peaked. VJ Beacham just attacks him right off the bounce, and he's good for 7 and 7.
Hall bounced it off his foot, retrieved by Isaiah Wilkins. Now London Parentes with the shot clock at 5. Tough floater. Rebound Colson. Steve Astoria to VJ Beacham. Farrell, you mentioned, is the MVP of the Legends Classic in this building back in November. Mike Bray hoping for more Brooklyn magic as Colson fires from the corner and misses, and Guy takes it off the floor. Notre Dame played 2 NCAA tournament games in this building less than a year ago. Wins over Michigan, a dramatic win over Stephen F. Austin. They beat BYU in this building in 2012 in the Coaches versus Cancer Classic. So they love the Barclays Center, and they love the dunk by Rex Pfluger.
And that little guy saying, maybe one day I can do what Rex does. He loved that. He's going to have to rock the Kareem goggles, that little man, when he goes for his reverse slam. And 10-point lead now for the Irish.
Matches their largest lead of the night. Jack saw it, trying to back in on Colson. Missed with the little left-handed jump hook.
The defense turned into offense. Boy, there's no better way to score against Virginia than an easy one. And Rex Pfluger, who is very good on the defensive end of the floor. Reverse slam. That's nice.
Out of Modern Day in Southern California. A lot of terrific teams and players there over the years.
Only 2 teams this year have shot 50% or better against Virginia. Pitt 54%, Syracuse 55%. Both losses for the Cavaliers.
Again, they had to play last night. Notre Dame did not, so you'd think the Irish should be the fresher team down the stretch. Colson just powered in on Mamadi Diakite. And it'll be 2 more free throw opportunities for Bonzi Colson.
Well, it matters not the defender. He'll figure out a way to score against you. This guy's been playing this way his entire life.
I asked Mike Bray earlier today, he was surprised by what a big year he's had, Colson, and he said no, he's had an upward trajectory for a while now, and he benefits from playing with a bunch of good shooters around him who spread that defense out. Maria?
Well, you know, guys, Bonzi Colson, he may be great on the court, but I just wanted you to know that he's also a great actor. Since he was a freshman in high school, he has been playing in roles like Grease. Look at him playing Sonny. He was a T-Bird. He started out because Michael Carter Williams was one at his former high school at St. Andrews, and he said he always wanted to be well-rounded. That was his opportunity, and he hopes to one day be the next Will Smith.
Wow. Well, those are big goals.
Wow, yeah. I think he'd want to be the next somebody in basketball first, maybe a career in acting after a pro basketball career. Parentes a miss, and it goes over to Notre Dame. Colson out of St. Andrews School in your neighborhood, the great state of Rhode Island. A lot of good players played there as well. I remember Demetrius Nichols, who played at Syracuse, came out of St. Andrews.
I won't claim to have come from Rhode Island.
No, but you live there now.
I do.
Although we probably shouldn't give your whereabouts away. Colson, rebound Diakite. 3.5 minutes gone by. 12-point deficit. And when you're Virginia, sometimes that feels like even more with the struggles to score. At the offensive end, they haven't created much offense out of their defense tonight, as they frequently do. Thompson, the star of the first half, with 3 balls, stepped into a 2 and missed.
Well, they've had great stretches of futility on the offensive end. Lost to Louisville 55 points, lost to Duke 55 points, lost at North Carolina 41 points.
Astoria to the wing, Beecham a three, and the Irish have opened up a 15-point lead here in Brooklyn. Well, it's a veteran nucleus. Astoria set up. Beecham, along with Colson, they all reached 1,000 career points this year. It's a lot of scoring talent on the floor, and it's a 9-0 run for the Irish.
Well, again, a lot of playmakers. The floor is spaced, and you collapse that pack line, and Matt Farrell says that's a 3-ball from VJ.
Warriors, Spurs, Saturday on ABC.
Tomorrow's the day we'll play something besides video games.
Every day is a gift, especially for people with heart failure. But today, there's Entresto, a breakthrough medicine that can help make more tomorrows possible.
Tomorrow, I want to see Teddy bait his first hook.
In the largest heart failure study ever, Entresto was proven to help more people stay alive and out of the hospital than a leading heart failure medicine. Women who are pregnant must not take Entresto. It can cause harm or death to an unborn baby. Don't take Entresto with an ACE inhibitor or aliskiren. If you've had angioedema while taking an ACE or ARB medicine, don't take Entresto. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high potassium in your blood.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna step out with my favorite girl.
Ask your doctor about Entresto and help make the gift of tomorrow possible.
It's lunchtime. Stop what you're doing and head to Subway. Because right now, you can get the Subway footlong sub of the day for just $6. It's the $6 footlong sub of the day. A great value from a better Subway.
You know the odds of picking a perfect bracket are like 1 in 2.4 trillion, right? So? You literally have better odds of dating a supermodel.
Never even seen a supermodel.
Improve your odds. With 6 grams of protein, California almonds are the perfect pick.
The new iPhone 7 now runs on Straight Talk. So you can take and share pictures any time of day. With a network that helps you save the day for half the cost. Get an iPhone 7. Unlimited plans with 5 gigs of high-speed data start at just $45 a month on America's largest, most dependable 4G LTE networks. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
Doctors have breakthroughs. Scientists have breakthroughs. Superheroes have the ability to break through walls. And well, here's another breakthrough. The Kia Niro. It's loaded with really smart technology and it's fun to drive. Plus it gets over 40 mpg combined. That's more than any other crossover. Whoa! Did we just break through a breakthrough? You're kind of blowing my mind, Kia.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life. With the right guidance, everyone can be good at life.
New York Life, the title sponsor of this ACC tournament here in Brooklyn. Participating all week, our friend Seth Greenberg, sitting with some lucky fans, or standing, leaning if you will. He's the New York Life expert of the game. New York Life doing a trivia promotion during the first half. Winners are awarded a seat upgrade. Chance to sit down with college basketball expert Corey Alexander, Mike Jaminski, Rick Barry, among others, serving as experts. Fun little contest and promotion, and what a treat for those fans. Learn at the elbow of the master, Seth Greenberg.
Well, he's a stand-up guy.
He is. As are Reese and Jay, as we've seen. Virginia's starters in this game have scored 10 points combined, and 8 of those have been by Devin Hall. London Parentes 2. The other 3 starters didn't score, including that freshman backcourt of Guy and Jerome. And there's freshman guard for Notre Dame, TJ Gibbs, with the bucket for the Irish. His brother Ashton played at Pitt. Another brother Sterling played Texas, Seton Hall, and UConn. 17-point lead. Shayok driving on Vastorio, gets called for a reach-in foul. And Shayok will be at the line after this timeout. 14:39 to go in the house Seth Greenberg built.
The markets can be very unpredictable. New York Life, on the other hand, is as consistent as my free throw shooting. They've paid a dividend to participating policy owners every year since 1854. It may not be sexy, but it works. Be good at life. New York Life.
Finally. Ron, they're finally taking down that Schwab billboard.
Oh, not so fast, Carl.
Oh no, Schwab again. Index investing for that low? That's 3 times less than Fidelity.
And 4 times less than Vanguard.
What next? No minimums?
No minimums.
Schwab has lowered the cost of investing again, introducing the lowest cost index funds in the industry with no minimums.
I bet they're calling about the Schwab news.
Schwab, a modern approach to wealth management.
Everyone loves Taco Bell's iconic Crunch Wrap, and once again, we're taking that love to new heights. The one that got away is back in a big way. The bigger, beefier, triple-double Crunch Wrap. Only at Taco Bell.
When they lost their retirement,
Williamsburg Savings will manage the liquidation of the pension.
It's my bank.
It's my bank. It's my bank.
3 friends found a way.
I'm thinking of robbing a bank.
I'm thinking about buying a Ferrari. I got drafted by the Knicks. Good week for everybody, huh?
To get even.
You 5-0? We're practically 8-0. We're gonna need a practice run.
Don't make me tell you! This is not an admission of guilt! I'm just tired.
Going in style. Rated PG-13.
Morning, it's another pure gray morning. Don't know what the day is holding. And I get up right when I walk right into the path of a lightning bolt. Got it to the line, they won the water, not the wine. But when I see the signs, I'll jump on that lightning bolt.
Are you kidding? Oh my goodness. Man, if you don't like this, there's something wrong. What a play! Let the party begin.
Champ Week's biggest night begins Saturday at 6 on ESPN.
Florida State coaches here doing a little scouting. They'll play the winner of this game. Right now it's Notre Dame leading 43-26 as we look at the brackets.
Well, that Duke team behind Luke Kennard, who has been as consistent a player as there has been in college basketball. Jason Tatum has been brilliant, but if they continue to get the scoring they got from Grayson Allen, just have a lot of options on the offensive end. Not much separation historically between those two great programs, Carolina and Duke. And please, on a Friday night in New York City, what a matchup.
Mariel Shayok just scored the first point of the second half with that free throw. Look at the game summary. Kyle Guy has not scored, and he's not on the floor. And Doris, I'm a little surprised by that because he's demonstrated he's one of the few Virginia players who can get hot and score points in bunches, and that's what they need.
Yeah, exactly right. I know there's times where he and Jerome can struggle on the defensive end, but at this point your problem is you can't score right now.
Nat Farrell whips it underneath. Gavin. It looks like he's seeking out contact, and it is finding him. Spirited screener. He attacked the bucket that time and got fouled by Devin Hall, his second.
Mike Bray has talked about coaching this young man hard, Sean. Not afraid to get into him. Gave him the starting spot to start the year, trying to build his confidence. Has to pull him out. You could give up on a kid, or you can continue to work him.
Here comes Guy back onto the floor for Virginia. Kevin's from Lithuania. His family came over to this country in Maryland. He went to high school at St. Maria Goretti in Hagerstown. Played internationally for Lithuania in the Under-19 World Championships. Colson returns.
Does it strike you as a confidence issue with that young man? Because to me it does a little bit. There's some skill in there, and we've seen Mike develop bigs over the course of his career.
The guy brings it up with Parentes, ordinarily the point guard, on the bench right now. Darius Thompson, son of a coach. His dad coach at Cumberland in Tennessee. Virginia turns it over. Their 8th of the night. Notre Dame has turned it over just 6 times. We mentioned only Michigan turns it over fewer times per game in the country than these two teams. Pfluger, well short, rebounded by Shayok. Junior from Ottawa, Ontario. Nice blow by, 4-2.
Feels like the first easy basket they've had in quite some time.
First field goal of the half for Virginia. More than 6 minutes in. They're 1 for 8 from the floor.
It's difficult to play when you can't enter the ball into the post and generate any easy opportunities, and Virginia cannot generate anything inside.
Vastoria nicely done. Mentioned tonight his 113th straight start. Only Chris Thomas and Pat Connaughton had longer consecutive start streaks for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. It's the 133rd career game for Vastoria. Only Connaughton and Torrey Jackson played in more games for Notre Dame. Pat Connaughton, the all-time record holder, with 139. Shayok, another bucket. 12.5 to go. A 14-point lead for Notre Dame. All 6 in the second half for Mariel Shayok. Colson. Boy, Kyle Guy under there now, just ducking for cover. You can see he planted himself, trying not to get run over by Colson. I don't know if he got stepped on when he was on the floor, but he's grabbing the right side of his head.
Virginia foul called against number 51, Darius Thompson.
Darius Thompson committed the foul for Virginia.
He's trying to take a charge. I like the no call, but Bonzi quick off his feet on the second jump, and yeah, he got him pretty good. How fast, you can see all the attributes that contribute to this guy's ability to rebound the basketball. We've talked about the reach. His fast first jump, fast second jump, and Guy going to go out a little bit shaken, maybe?
Well, I think he's staying in. But the best news of all is he's fine. Second best is the bun did not in any way appear to get messed up by the bout with Colson.
Looks like that's wound pretty tight. He knows what he's doing with it, clearly.
I wish I was an authority on that, but really can't tell you how that works. Jerome, nice shot. Body twisted toward his bench. Shot back to the right and made it on the move. And as Mike Bray said, you can't get rid of Virginia, at least ordinarily you can't. And it wouldn't surprise anybody if this gritty bunch of Cavaliers made it a tight game again. Rex Pfluger way off. Jack Salt says, I'll take that. Darius Thompson fouled as he went toward the rim.
Now, Virginia is a program that has had tremendous success under Tony Bennett, and they're not going to go away quietly. Their defense usually gives them an opportunity to stick in games, and Shayok on a couple of drives has given them a little bit of life. And I like Jerome. This kid competes. Down 13. Do they have anything left?
In my experience, there are only 2 things guaranteed to grow. The cash value of your New York Life policy, a policy that keeps your family protected, and my famous Crane souffle, which literally never stops growing. Be good at life. New York Life.
With the Travelocity Customer First Guarantee, your only worry will be that one rogue cloud.
Get help with hotels, free 24-hour flight changes, and our price match guarantee.
Travelocity. Wander wisely.
The goal of every allergy sufferer is 0 nasal allergy symptoms, and nothing gets you closer than Nasacort. Unlike antihistamines that target one cause of your symptoms, Nasacort stops more, and stopping more gets you closer to to 0. Nasacort stops more of what makes you miserable.
You've been planning it for months. So a sudden snowfall isn't gonna stop you. Because your Mazda's all-wheel drive can predict and adapt to changing road conditions. So even if you aren't ready for the unpredictable, your car is. Mazda's predictive iActive all-wheel drive.
Sometimes just looking at a sandwich can fill you with pride. Just like how eating a sandwich can fill you with sandwich. Arby's, we have the meat.
Chris Cotter in studio. Let's check in on the Big 12. K-State and Baylor. K-State is on the bubble, and Barry Brown has been the star of our cut-ins all night. Hitting another 3 and 1. He's 4 for 4 from beyond the arc. K-State looking to get in with a big win tonight if they can get it over Baylor. Meanwhile, in the Big East, Creighton with the lead over Providence. Arizona just gone final. They beat Colorado. Sean Doris.
Well, Chris, you just upset Mrs. Burke with that Providence score. I think they'd be doing better if Doris would give a little more money to Providence College.
I give plenty, I promise you.
I'm sure you do. Well, if you have plenty, you should give plenty. Those who much have been given, much is expected. Bracketology, there it is. Syracuse and Wake Forest right there on the bubble here in the ACC. Matt Farrell back in a building where he excelled in November in the Legends Classic and won the tournament MVP honors.
Well, Jerome is a tremendous fighter, but obviously he can be challenged speed-wise, and Matt Farrell takes it right to the rack.
We mentioned his success in this building, Farrell's, but you alluded to it earlier, not just in this part of the New York area, but when they played Villanova earlier this year over the Prudential Center in Newark, Farrell had 18 points in that game.
I'm very partial to Jersey kids.
Yes.
He and Bastore are two tough Jersey kids, and obviously a huge jump in terms of his scoring. He would say he's not improved. It's about opportunity. Any way you slice it, the young man has been terrific this year.
Finished third in the voting for the most improved player in the ACC this year, behind John Collins of Wake Forest and Ben Lammers of Georgia Tech, who was also the defensive player of the year in the ACC. Farrell. Pfluger poked it out, but his teammates had retreated to the defensive end. Shayok. Wow, he's having quite a half, doing his part to keep Virginia close. 8 points, all since the break.
Virginia again close to putting the Irish in the bonus. They've got 5 team fouls. Uncharacteristic turnovers and a lot of fouls. It's a tribute to the Irish and how hard they are to guard, and Bonzi doing work again in the post.
One rebound away now from another double-double, the 19th of the year for Colson. Parentes, no. Salt, great hands by Farrell, but Pfluger fouled him. You could hear Farrell smack the ball, but apparently Pfluger got him. He immediately raised his hand. Yeah, hit Salt in the top of the head.
And Bonzi, poor Jack Salt is going to have nightmares trying to contend with this guy defensively.
Here's Salt, the New Zealander. Of course, Kirk Penny came over from New Zealand, was a terrific player at Wisconsin. Tony Bennett was an assistant coach at Wisconsin. His dad, Dick Bennett, the head coach there for a long time. So he had some connections over there to New Zealand.
He was intentionally fouled last night, putting him at the free throw line, delivered a couple of foul shots. Misses the first, misses the second.
Exactly midway through the second half. Fighting Irish of Notre Dame fared very well in their 4 seasons in the ACC. Had kind of a strange year. Started 5-0 this year in conference, then lost 5 out of 6. You wondered how good they really are. Then they won 6 in a row before they lost their regular season finale in Louisville. Vastoria, the bucket for the Irish. Shayok, no. Salt rescued it. Can Guy get a bucket? No. It comes back to Guy. Unafraid, Colson blocked it and then started woofing.
Sparkin, this is my house. I thought this one was going to go. I think Guy made a poor decision. He's in amongst bigger bodies. And Monty lets him know this is my house.
Well, your teammates might want to share it. Guy.
Oof, this is ugly.
20 last night, and he came into that game on a roll. The goose egg tonight. Jerome has scored only 2. Vastoria spins out in that kind of a year from beyond the arc for Steve Vastoria.
You know, I still wouldn't hesitate to go to that young man.
No, and he's great in the clutch.
He is so good in the clutch. I don't care if he's missed 10 straight. I'm giving it to him.
Guy lobbed it underneath. Wilkins with Gebben contesting from behind. Pfluger ripped it away from Hall. Wound up with Virginia. The shot clock never reset. Nice pass by Wilkins, and it leads to a bucket for Devin Hall, the redshirt junior from Virginia Beach. He has 10. He and Darius Thompson lead UVA with 10 points apiece. Bonzie Colson leads all scorers with 16 for Notre Dame. Gibbs lays it in.
I just cannot be more impressed with what the Irish are doing. They're multiple driving, forcing multiple rotations. I don't care how good you are defensively, and Virginia is exceptional. When you've got to close that many times, somewhere, somehow, something's going to open up.
Virginia, the best scoring defense in the country, 55 points per game allowed. Notre Dame's already 1 point ahead of that with more than 7.5 minutes to go. Guy. He is 0 for 8. That was his first three-point attempt, and you know that was a big part of the scouting report for Notre Dame tonight. Don't let him shoot threes.
I think Virginia, it's a demanding opponent, right? They're going to test you both sides. You're going to have to guard for 30. You're going to have to be disciplined offensively. A little bit of frustration showing on Tony Bennett's face. I think he knew the challenge that was facing him because Notre Dame's so good offensively.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life. With the right guidance, everyone can be good at life.
The markets can be very unpredictable. New York Life, on the other hand, is as consistent as my free throw shooting. They've paid a dividend to participating policy owners every year since 1854. It may not be sexy, but it works. Be good at life. New York Life.
When I want a $7.99 large pizza from Pizza Hut, I can order with this, and now from my Pizza Hut Pie Tops.
Now get a large 2-topping pizza for just $7.99. It's the best pizza delivery deal.
Because no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Quando o PA se abre, ela bota no repeat. Didi diz que é hit, não tira do ar da mão.
You got something. Own it and smell great with new Axe U body wash.
No batidão de hit.
The moment you realize, how could there possibly be this many blues?
Don't worry. At Lowe's, we guarantee you'll always love your paint, or we'll replace it.
Hurry into Lowe's where you'll find new lower prices, like paint and primer starting at only $17.98.
I mean, I wish I had time to take care of my portfolio, but...
Well, what are you doing tomorrow? 10 a.m.?
Staff meeting.
Noon?
Eating.
3:45?
Oh, compliance training.
6:30.
Sam's baseball practice.
8:30?
Tai Chi. Yeah, so...
That's relaxing. All right, 9:53.
I usually make their lunches then, and I have a little vegan, so... You know.
Wow, you are busy. Wouldn't it be great if you had investments that worked as hard as you do?
Yeah.
Introducing Essential Portfolios, the automated investing solution that lets you focus on your life.
Chevy is the most awarded car company 3 years in a row.
Really?
Let's see how quickly you can read through all their awards.
2017 Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Kelley Blue Book 2016 Best Resale Value. 2016 JD Power Highest Quality Ranking.
10 best blah, blah, blah.
2015.
Only about 90 more to go.
That's a lot of awards.
Now through March 13th, get 20% below MSRP on all 2017 Spark, Impala, and Sonic models. That's over $8,000 on this Chevy Impala. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Chris Cotter in studio. Let's go back to the Big East. Creighton and Providence, and Zach Hansen, one of the Hansen brothers. I'm not sure he has a brother, but if he does, he's one of the Hansen brothers. Scores right there. Creighton has outscored Providence 17-6 in the second half. Sorry to report that. Doris, coming up next, UCLA and USC in the Pac-12. Lonzo Ball, TJ Leaf arriving. They'll tip in 24 minutes. Sean, Doris?
Thanks largely to Lonzo Ball. UCLA, the only team in the country better than Notre Dame in assist-to-turnover ratio. When USC and UCLA are finished with that Pac-12 quarterfinal, Sports Center at night with Stan and Neil.
What was your take on the Lonzo Ball's dad kind of chirping a little bit about he's only going to play for the Lakers?
Yeah, I really wish he would just pipe down. I'm sure he loves his son very much, but he's not doing his son any favors. By all accounts, the son is a really nice young man.
Last time out, this is Tony Bennett, who's experienced a frustrating night. His team has got 10 turnovers. Notre Dame shooting 51%. Maria had given a report where there was real disgust with the kind of effort he was getting on the defensive end. And Maria, I imagine you heard quite an earful.
Absolutely. He was not happy at all or satisfied with the effort that he's getting right now. And as soon as his team sat down, he pointed to London Parentes and says, it starts with you defensively. That's what we need. But he looked at him and said, we're taking bad shots. We're not sliding defensively. We're not showing the right effort. He's not satisfied with the intensity right now. And that's the most animated I've seen him all night in the huddle.
Well, listen, obviously this is a program defined by what they do on the defensive end of the floor. I go back to last night. He holds his opponent to 7.5 minutes without a field goal, and he's saying, we've got to tighten things up defensively. I just think they lost an extraordinary amount of talent over the last couple of years. They don't have a guy.
Well, they do.
Yeah. Yes, they've got Kyle Guy.
Yes. Jerome, yes. 13-point game. Bench comes to life. 6:20 to go. They're losing Austin Nichols, transferred in from Memphis. Talented offensive player. That really hurt. They basically threw him off the team. And they were counting on him to bring some much-needed scoring to help replace guys like Malcolm Brogdon, Anthony Gill, Mike Tobey. Puts so much more pressure on their defense, even more than in recent seasons, because they have so few answers at the offensive end. They have one player averaging in double figures in scoring for the year.
Listen, the Irish come in here averaging 78 points per game. You've got them to 56. Most times that would give you an opportunity to win it. We'll be back in 30 seconds. We hope Virginia's offense comes with us.
Hello?
Almost didn't recognize you. Sweet new ride.
Thanks.
But you get a promotion? Wait, are you our boss now?
You're the boss. I'm gonna need more vacation days.
Oh, can I call in sick today?
Guys, I don't have that kind of power, but I can park this car with my mind.
Now you're just showing off.
Lease the first ever all-wheel drive Infiniti QX30 crossover at your local Infiniti retailer.
Back at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York Life ACC tournament, last quarterfinal matchup of the day. Notre Dame leading by 13 under 6 minutes to go. Bonzie Colson at the end of the shot clock. No. Kept alive by Gibbs, who dives on the floor, and he gets the timeout.
Timeout on the floor.
Largest lead for Mike Bray and the Irish. 17 points here in the second half. They've lost 10 in a row to Virginia, 0-5 under Mike Bray. A win tonight would send them on to the semifinals of this New York Life ACC tournament to take on Florida State. North Carolina and Duke get the semi started tomorrow night at 7 on ESPN.
Yeah, you were saying that when you spoke to Mike Bray earlier that he was saying that this particular group of guys knew the history. They know how long it's been since his team has beaten Virginia. And when I had that tournament that they won here back in November, and when we interviewed a postgame, I said there's a little, and I couldn't use the word I wanted to use about this particular group, but there's a toughness and edge about this Notre Dame team that I really like. And I think that starts with Steve Astoria and Matt Farrell. A little bit of edginess. Bonzie Colson, we know he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder.
And Mike was saying it's been an easy team to coach. They're really even-keeled. As you say, a lot of veteran leadership. And a shot from the free throw line by V.J. Beacham. Darius Thompson short with a three. Astoria the rebound. Not that coaches are superstitious, but the Irish staying in the same hotel over in Manhattan that they stayed in when they were here for that Legends Classic and won it back in the fall. Colson, little floater over Jerome, who grabbed the rebound. Jerome's a good rebounder, or a guy who's a guard. They can't take too much time. 4.5 minutes to go, down by 15. Nice pass underneath. Reuter lays it in, having one of his best nights.
What did Maria tell us? The coaching staff told her about Jerome. He's our highest IQ player. He is not afraid to mix it up. My favorite part about him is the kid competes. He's smart, knows how to play.
Seven points for Reuter. That's the most he has scored since January 4th, when he had 10 in the game at Pitt. Wow, what a pass! Farrell whipped it underneath to Bonzie Colson, and the lead back to 15 for Notre Dame with less than 4 minutes remaining. Reuter and Colson. They're from not very far apart. Southeastern Massachusetts, Marion, Mass, over New Bedford, Mass, and then Hall tips it in. Farrell, Parentis came out aggressively. Farrell hits the deck, another acrobatic shot. Reuter. Wow, what a night he's had. 9 points for Jared. And Tony Bennett will call another timeout, leaving Virginia with just 2:47 to go.
Well, Matt Farrell making a couple of big-time plays. One on a pass, this one on a drive. Looks like he's got to split defenders. He's falling backwards and down and still is able to make the shot. And Mike Bray all kinds of fired up. You think he wants to beat this team for the first time in 11 tries? Little frustration for Tony Bennett. Plenty of happiness on the Irish side.
Hand-cut tomatoes, fresh original dough. You'd expect those from a pizza family. But here's something you didn't see coming. Get a 2-topping pan or large pizza from Papa John's, just $9.99. That's right, only $9.99.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Allergies can hold you back. Break through with Allegra 5-in-1 Relief. It starts working in 1 hour. Relief lasts 24 hours, and it's non-drowsy. Break through allergies with Allegra 5-in-1 Relief.
These seats aren't just for watching the game. They're for participating in it. Like the exit row on an airplane, sitting here carries great responsibility. Here, my 6 men and women, every action is a distraction. So when the other team goes to the line, make some noise. Annoy, like your season depends on it, because it just might.
When I first started working with Capital One, my dad called them up and asked for the Jennifer Garner card, which is such a dad thing to do. After he gave his name, the woman from Capital One said, "Mr. Garner, are you related to Jennifer?" kind of joking with him. And my dad was so proud to tell her, "As a matter of fact, she is my middle daughter." So now Dad has the Venture card, he's earning his double miles, and he made a friend of the company.
Can I say it?
Go ahead.
What's in your wallet?
Nice job, Dad.
Morning, it's another pure gray morning. Don't know what the day is holding. And I get up right when I walk right into the path of a lightning bolt. Got it to the line, they won the water, not the wine. But when I see the signs, I'll jump on that lightning bolt.
The Verizon IndyCar Series kicks off Sunday in St. Pete.
Go get him, go get him.
The countdown to the Indy 500 begins here.
Great job.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, Sunday at noon Eastern on ABC.
It's not who you pick, it's where you pick. And this top seed is a lock. The #1 bracket game in the land. ESPN Tournament Challenge. Follow your bracket and get the latest tournament news from anywhere. Sign up at espn.com/bracket or download the app today.
Chris Cotter in studio. Bubble watch over in the Big 12. This game being played on ESPN. K-State and Baylor, 5-point lead for K-State. Wonderful crossover. And then a tough shot by Kamau Stokes in the paint. It's now just a 4-point lead for K-State, but they're on the bubble and looking good right now, guys.
All right, Chris, thank you. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on ESPN, North Carolina and Duke in the first New York Life ACC tournament semifinal of the night. Florida State will get the winner of this game. Right now it's Notre Dame on top by 13.
Now, Luke Kennard and Frank Jackson, you look at Justin Jackson, 20 points for Luke. I've just felt like from the start of this season, he looked so confident, so comfortable with the ball in his hands. And Justin Jackson, of course, the player of the year. I was surprised Kennard only got 5 votes, but I guess with Jackson in North Carolina, I thought it was the appropriate pick. I just couldn't have been more impressed with Luke Kennard all year long.
Yes, indeed. Jay Billis and Dan Schulman were saying today, there's a lot he does well. We saw today he could score with either hand. Parenta's 2 quick fouls. Virginia now over the limit. So Farrell's at the free throw line. 83% for the year. Earlier this season he made 31 in a row, a streak that actually began at the end of last season. Made his first 27 of this year before a miss.
Well, you really wonder about the long-term health of Wilkins and what impact that would have on this Virginia basketball team. He's their best defensive player in the front court. He's a versatile guy. He has not looked well in a couple of weeks. If he is unable to play in the NCAA tournament, that is a huge loss for this team.
2.5 to go. Jerome, yes, another 3 for Ty Jerome. 1 timeout for Virginia. They bring the pressure. And Pfluger is fouled near midcourt by Diakite. Pfluger is a 68% free throw shooter. Time for tonight's player of the game, brought to you by Jersey Mike Subs. And it's Bonzie Colson with his 19th double-double of the season, adding to his conference lead. 18 points and 10 rebounds. Just 6 out of 14 from the floor. Pfluger, no, on the front end of a 1-and-1. Reese Davis mentioned at the top of the telecast, Notre Dame won the first meeting all time between these two schools back in 1981. Parentes knew that was off. Vastoria took a look long at Farrell and then pulled it down. Virginia has won 10 in a row since that win. In fact, the last NCAA tournament game Digger Phelps coached in was a loss to Virginia at the Richmond Coliseum, March of 1990. Digger coached one more year at Notre Dame.
You'll get the text from him thanking you for the mention.
Yeah, mentioned he's still the all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame. And will always be an Irish legend, still around the program a lot. Now this guy's on his way to achieving legendary status, if you ask me. I don't know if there's a coach I admire more for both his personality and the way he does it and what he does. I mean, they were, again, picked to finish in the middle of the pack. They were picked 7th in the preseason ACC poll, and they finished 2nd. And it seems like they do that year after year after year.
I agree, and he told us, this was 2 Saturdays ago at NC State, he told us a story about there was a point in his career where he considered leaving Notre Dame because the program had struggled briefly, and he was wondering, would there be some job pressure on him? You know, the impatience in college athletics, but boy, he has done a tremendous job. He's done it the right way. He could have a career in television. The guy knows exactly. You can spend 5 minutes with him, and he has you prepared. He catches you up on his team.
Well, he's a regular guy. You know, this is a profession where largely because of television, we make these guys into stars and larger-than-life figures, and most of them are wonderful guys. But this guy is about as normal as they come in a profession where we can't say that about all, or maybe even not even a high percentage of his colleagues and peers.
Agreed. He's as competitive as anyone, but you know, this morning there at shoot-around, he actually gets involved in a little pickup game with the guys who are working out of the gym. I mean, how great is that?
There's a fine player back in the days in the George Washington Hall of Fame, also in the Delaware Hall of Fame for his 5 excellent years as head coach there. Well, here they are at the Equinox Sports Club. Bunch of strangers. Hey, who's this guy in the white? Wants to join our game. Wonder if he knows anything about basketball.
Good post speed. That guy looks a little like Bonzie Colson.
I didn't see a lot of lateral quickness there from Coach Bray. He'll be 58 on March 22nd. I don't think he'd ever leave now for another college job. I've always said I thought he would be a tremendous NBA coach.
I agree with that.
His personality,
yes.
His flair on the offensive end, ability to motivate, manage people. I think he'd be a tremendous NBA coach.
Agreed.
Shayok's had a very nice night, and that continues. 11-point game, 1:20 to go. Hard thing is when you have to foul Notre Dame, you're fouling the best free throw shooting team in the country. They're at 80.9% starting tonight, led by 91% plus from Vistoria. That's an eye-popping number.
Yeah.
And that helps you all the time, but particularly come tournament time when it seems like so many games are decided at the free throw line.
The other part I wonder about with Virginia, Sean, London Parentes is used to winning and winning at a high level. There's a lot on his shoulders. He's not ever been an alpha scorer. He's been asked to do that. There's brief moments where you see the frustration set in for him.
Darius Thompson, the bucket. It's still a game, 10-point game with 1:07 to go. And a warning, I believe, for delay of game being issued to Virginia. Home run pass, Farrell run it down. You don't want to foul him, but you kind of have to. Whoa! You didn't have to quite foul him like that. Now Colson, who's been woofing all night, took opportunity to go toward Diakite with some animation, and then wisely walks to the other end of the court.
I think they're going to take a look. They're going to take a look at it, I believe. I'm pretty sure Diakite is the second time he hit Farrell, and it looked like Farrell might have had a bit of frustration on the prior foul. And this one looks like Farrell's going to get around him. And
the play will be under review. call, of course, a common foul against Virginia number 25, Mamadi Diakite. His third personal
That's a little unnecessary, don't you think?
No question about it. No question about it. And Bonzi's just making sure Diakite knows he's not going to continue to accept that. And the prior one, he comes across that one a little less objectionable. But see, Farrell,
Farrell didn't like it.
He didn't like it.
Following the review, the foul has been upgraded to a flagrant 1 foul.
Flagrant 1 foul.
Third personal foul on Diakite.
3 fouls on Diakite. An atonement for Farrell. He was particularly good in the ACC conference games. They played 18 of them. He scored in double figures in every conference game this year except the loss to Virginia in South Bend on January 24th when he had 8 points. He averaged 15 per game in league play, and he's comfortably into double figures tonight. 13 points. And now 14.
And I love the story that because the guys in front of him were taking his minutes, he was trying to break the rotation, couldn't, actually went into Mike Bray's office and said, maybe I need to transfer out. And Mike convinced him to stay. And then he gets inserted late in the ball game and is key in their run to the Elite Eight. So in an era of immediate gratification, I like Farrell's toughness. And his dad said, you're not going anywhere. Figure it out. Work harder in practice.
Looks like Virginia is going to call off the Dogs now. They're not fouling. The Notre Dame taking advantage of the double bye. They've advanced to the semifinals of a conference tournament each time they've earned a double bye, and this was the 6th time in the last 8 seasons that's happened, dating back to their Big East days.
That's his 4th personal foul.
What was Seth saying about Mike doing such a good job getting his team prepared for postseason, giving them great confidence, letting them have tremendous freedom? But UCLA is after us, folks, and if you have not seen Lonzo Ball play, you want to watch this guy. He is electric as a passer.
So Mike Bray said earlier today, we figured out just about everything. They've had terrific success in their time in the league against Duke and North Carolina. They've won the ACC tournament title. They've beaten every other team in the league at least once. So we haven't figured out Virginia. They figured it out tonight. It was an 11-0 run to start the second half that really propelled the victory, led by the first team all-conference player Bonzi Colson. First win against Virginia since 1981. 10 losses in a row since then. And now the victory that sends them on tomorrow night's semifinals in this New York Life ACC tournament. Compelling doubleheader starting at 7 o'clock tomorrow night with North Carolina and Duke. And then the 3-seed Notre Dame and the 2-seed Florida State. 21 points, 10 rebounds for Bonzi Colson. 14 points for Farrell, 12 each for Astoria and Beecham. Jerome and Shayok had 10 each for Virginia, and Thompson led them with 12. For Maria and Doris, Sean McDonough, so long from Brooklyn.